Hey guys, thanks a lot for clicking on the video. As you can tell from the thumbnail, today we're going to take a look at 15 video games that were overhyped flops. Alright guys, so everyone's definition of a flop or an overhyped flop is going to be different. So this list of 15 is going to be in no particular order because what's overhyped and a flop is really subjective, even more so than the last couple of lists that we've done. Some games could have been on this list but worked their way off of it just because they actually fixed their bugs. The game got better through DLC or for whatever reasons. Obviously, my list is going to be different than yours. You're going to have some that you want to mention, so I encourage you to leave it down in the comments after the video. Let's get started.
Do you pledge to give your life in service to our righteous cause?
First on this list is 2015 The Order, 1886. Ready at Dawn, the developer behind the successful titles like Daxter and 2 of the God of War games on the PSP, ventured into a new territory with 1886 The Order on the PS4. So this is set in an alternative steampunk version of London. The game's stunning visuals and unique setting immediately caught our attention. The concept, which combined vampires, werewolves, and the Knights of the Round Table, seemed promising. However, despite its technical achievements, the game fell short in terms of storytelling. Clocking in at just under 7 hours, the short length, coupled with weak narrative and forgettable characters, left us little incentive to revisit The Order. And it's a shame because I really dug this game and the premise of it, but not much replay value. Next up, a recent entry, Redfall 2023. Now, I initially couldn't comprehend the excitement surrounding this game, but now I understand why it was a topic of conversation. Redfall managed to capture the attention of every Xbox owner and Game Pass subscriber, and I gotta admit, it looked pretty promising. Unfortunately, the game was doomed from the beginning due to its poor release state. A lot of people quickly lost interest and turned to other more enjoyable games. The presence of numerous bugs, glitches, and subpar enemy AI made it clear that Redfall fell short of expectations, especially for a AAA game. Although Arcane made efforts to improve the game and it is now kind of playable, it will always be regarded as a disappointment. Redfall is one of the few games on this list that I simply couldn't and didn't want to finish. Next, Watch Dogs 2014. Now, this is a game that some people will say they enjoyed it. It was decent enough to get a sequel, but when Watch Dogs was unveiled at E3 in 2012, it created a lot of excitement and anticipation. It's not uncommon for games to generate hype, especially at E3 and when they're announced specifically for this event. However, the level of excitement for Watch Dogs was on another level. The brief gameplay footage shown was so impressive that it convinced many people to pre-order the game, or at least have high expectations for it. Some even hailed it as one of the most innovative games in recent memory. Unfortunately, the actual game didn't live up to its hype. It turned out to be just another average GTA clone, which left a sour taste in the mouths of many gamers. The gameplay, side missions, and graphics were also all disappointing, especially compared to what was shown at the showcase at E3. Next on our list from 2016, Star Fox Zero. The Star Fox franchise holds a special place in the hearts of veteran gamers, being one of the most iconic ones out there. Many of us have cherished memories of playing these games as children, and now that we're all grown up. So when the announcement of a new Star Fox game came out in 2014, excitement filled the air and expectations soared high. I mean, it's a Star Fox game we're talking about here. However, when the game finally arrived, fans were a bit disappointed. It wasn't necessarily a horrible game, but it felt too similar to Star Fox 64 in terms of gameplay and overall experience. The controls were a bit challenging to grasp as well, although there are a few reviewers and gamers out there who like the added difficulty. Almost 10 years later, this is the least praised of the Star Fox library.
We failed him.
Next up, Marvel's Avengers 2020. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, continues to expand with each new film. Releases seem to be coming out every few months. The Avengers game hit consoles in 2020, marking a significant moment that many of us enthusiasts strive to erase from our memories. From glitches and lags to games abruptly ending, progress being lost, data becoming corrupted, and characters resembling knockoff figures, this game was plagued with issues. Now, despite efforts from Crystal Dynamics to salvage it, the servers were permanently shut down on September 30th, 2023. RIP Avengers. Next up, Aliens, Colonial Marines, 2013. Taking place in the expansive world of the Aliens franchise, Colonial Marines was intended to be the official continuation of the beloved 80s classic. With its complex connections to the original story, faithfully recreating environments from the iconic film Aliens, and the return of Lance Henriksen lending his iconic voice, it seemed like a promising venture. However, the reality was far from what fans were hoping for. The game's visuals were disappointingly unimpressive, especially for a high-budget release, lacking the intense atmosphere and heroic gun-wielding action that made the movie so memorable. To make matters worse, the AI was embarrassingly unintelligent, unintentionally transforming the game into a comedic experience. It was an absolute catastrophe from start to finish.
Dream of exploring the unknown, discovering what lies beyond.
Next up, Mass Effect Andromeda, 2015. Now, I was one of the people that paid full price the first day this came out, and oh boy, did that one hurt. You go to Five Below now, and you see like dozens of these games on the shelf. They can't give it away for $5. So, if you were searching for a modern-day comparison to witnessing a ship sinking into the ocean, you could reflect on the journey of Mass Effect Andromeda. The game was announced in 2015, sparking excitement among fans of the original trilogy. However, as its release approached, anticipation turned into concern due to various technical problems. When Andromeda finally launched, it faced harsh criticism for its glitches and unattractive facial animations, dividing opinions on the story and characters. The backlash was so severe that BioWare decided to halt the series for the time being. Almost 10 years later, and I'm still waiting to hear something about Mass Effect again.
It ain't as simple as it seems.
Next up, Death Stranding, 2019. Now, Death Stranding generated a lot of excitement for several reasons. Firstly, it marked Kojima Productions' debut as an independent studio after a well-known split from Konami. The game boasted an impressive lineup of actors including Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen, and Troy Baker. Most notably, Hideo Kojima promised a completely new genre, suggesting innovation. However, the majority of the gameplay involved slowly traveling through desolate landscapes, carrying heavy loads, and a bridge baby. Despite receiving positive feedback for its ambition and visuals, Death Stranding is more of a game to be admired than truly enjoyed. It even inspired a parody game called Walking Simulator. Another game I really wanted to like, Anthem, 2019. Anthem was heavily promoted as the game that would outshine Destiny. This action RPG was also seen as a chance for BioWare to redeem themselves after the disappointment of Mass Effect Andromeda. Unfortunately, once again, we put our trust in EA, and once again we were left disappointed. Although the game didn't have loot boxes, Anthem suffered from the same issues that have become synonymous with EA lately: repetitive missions, lack of content, and rushed development. However, perhaps with some more updates, these problems can be somewhat improved. I genuinely hope that BioWare can bounce back, but it's hard to feel excited about their future projects after this major setback.
In 2077, they voted my city the worst place to live in America.
Cyberpunk 2077 from 2020. Cyberpunk 2077 truly embraced its glitchy wetware aesthetic by being incredibly buggy when it first launched. While some of the glitches were amusing, others actually hindered players from progressing in the main storyline. This led to frustrated gamers who couldn't move forward, resulting in numerous refund requests that were granted. The situation got so serious that PlayStation even removed the game from its online stores until proper patches could be made. Now, to be fair, Cyberpunk has significantly improved its performance through various patches since the initial release date. The game did manage to make money in the end. However, the repercussions of all the lawsuits and the series of embarrassing incidents during its first year have left a lasting impact on CD Projekt Red, tarnishing the trust gamers had in this company. I tried to play again a few days ago, and I still couldn't see the gun in my hands.
Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen have been kidnapped.
Next, Superman, aka Superman 64, 1999. The Nintendo 64 version of Superman aimed to capitalize on the popular animated series, but fell short due to the console's limitations. Unfortunately, Titus Interactive's grand vision of the game was not fully realized, resulting in a disappointing final product. Despite being marketed as a hit, VGC charts reported that Superman sold less than 500,000 copies, largely due to its poor gameplay, graphics, and overall quality. Titus Interactive's subsequent titles, including 2003's RoboCop, also failed to impress, leading to the company's eventual closure.
Yo, can I ask you something?
What is it?
It's about that Phoenix mirror.
Shenmue II, 2001. Shenmue remains a groundbreaking title that has garnered a loyal following due to its innovative approach in pushing the boundaries of video game capabilities during its time. Regrettably, the sophomore slump is a real thing, and Shenmue II's ambitious gameplay mechanics fell short in addressing the technical issues it had. The Guardian reported that Sega invested a staggering $47 million into the sequel of Shenmue's development, a significant sum for a game of its kind in the early 2000s. While the franchise introduced revolutionary elements and gameplay mechanics, it came with a heavy price, leading to the downfall of Sega's last gaming console, the Dreamcast.
It's no joke. Next time you could get
The initial reason I wanted to make this list? Mighty Number 9, 2016. Now, this is regarded as the spiritual successor to the iconic Mega Man franchise. Mighty Number 9 garnered significant attention even before showcasing any gameplay. It managed to reach its $900,000 Kickstarter in just 2 days. The development journey was meticulously documented in a film, with fan feedback occasionally being taken into account through various surveys. Despite numerous delays, the final product left many supporters disheartened due to the subpar visuals compared to the initial promises, disappointing levels, and frequent frame rate issues. It's safe to conclude that this game did not live up to the expectations set for a worthy successor to Mega Man. Duke Nukem Forever, 2011. It's evident that the developers did not intend for the irony of this title to be a prominent aspect of the game's development. However, when the game was eventually released after a staggering 15 years, the word forever accurately depicted the seemingly endless wait we had to endure. Duke underwent numerous transitions between game studios, game engines, and console generations before making its controversial comeback. Unfortunately, the game suffers from its identity crisis, struggling to find a balance between modern and retro-style shooters, ultimately failing to excel in either category. The humor fell flat, explicit content was lost in its impact, and most importantly, the game lacked the essential element of fun. Our honorable mention goes out to E.T. from 1982. Now, I don't know what kind of hype there was surrounding this, because I was only 1 year old when the movie and the video game came out, but E.T. the Extraterrestrial for the Atari 2600 is widely regarded as one of the most notorious video games in history. It's often associated with the term flop. It was created in under 2 months to capitalize on the popularity of Steven Spielberg's groundbreaking film E.T., and it's frequently mentioned as one of the worst video games ever created. However, in late 1982, Atari was so confident in the game's brand name recognition that they produced an excessive number of ET cartridges, expecting them all to fly off the shelves for the holiday season. Now, unfortunately, the game turned out to be a colossal failure, leading Atari to dispose of hundreds of thousands of cartridges in a landfill in Texas. Although the company eventually was able to bounce back a little bit from this disaster, they were never able to regain the same level of dominance in the gaming industry that they enjoyed in the late 70s and early 80s. And like I said, this is honorable mention, but none of these games are ranked. I just, figured let's take a break on shitting on E.T. It's been about 40 years. And last up today on our list is Fallout 76, 2018. Now, Fallout 76 failed to live up to the hype generated by its extensive advertising campaign, leaving players disappointed with its lack of interesting NPCs, creative quests, and expansive open world. The game was marked as a fun online experience set in an apocalyptic world for players to explore with friends, but fell short of delivering on these promises. The controversy surrounding the game further deterred many from engaging with it, ultimately leading to a decline in popularity. Now, I know 6-7 years on, with patches and updates and DLC and free stuff on Game Pass, it's gotten better. But for me, as a huge Fallout fan, this is still one that I haven't completed and I don't really go back to. And that's going to do it for this week's list of 15 overhyped flop video games. Now, I know there's probably dozens more that we haven't talked about, but if there's something that you feel should have been mentioned, please let me know down in the comments what you think deserved to have the title, the infamous title of Overhyped Flop. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you in about a week. Take care.